Hello and welcome. My name is Hackett-Bauer and I'm going to be presenting over communicating and advocating for school and community needs. So the first school district that I found was called the Consolidated School District of New Britain. This was located in New Britain, Connecticut. I found a quote from their board policy that I wanted to read. Multicultural education is a continuous, systematic, and dynamic process that fosters cultural diversity in an independent world. Therefore, the Board of Education promotes multicultural education as an integral part of the education experience for all students in the New Britain school system. Most of their diversity is made up of African American, Puerto Rican, and Latin American, and what they do for their staff, they try to recruit, train, retain culturally diverse teachers. And they provide this by, giving their staff a comprehensive development so that they can attain their teachers and administrators and support staff. The second school district I found was called Broward County Schools. This is located in quite a few little towns, and bigger towns in Florida, but Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Hollywood, Florida. It's a very narrow but long school district I looked up, and the district talks about they believe that the diversity should be promoted so that the isolation of racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups is avoided. The full benefit of integration is achieved and the education is enhanced in a diverse, inclusive setting. We believe that the educational equity should be promoted to ensure equitable opportunities and resources to meet the needs of all students. Again, most of their population is made up of Black or African American, Hispanic or Latino, and then white or Caucasian students. What they do for training their staff, they structure an analysis plan where they create a plan to figure out what's going on in their district. What do they need? They review compositions of staff, faculty, and admin. So that's where they look at their background and they see, okay, are they qualified for this? Do they have a diverse background? If not, are they willing to set their biases aside? And then what I also really liked about this is they provide surveys for implementation groups. So if they take out a survey and they see that they're lacking in cultural something like support of religion, students, then maybe that's something they'll work on. The cool thing I did also find about this, I put a little note at the bottom, they have a complete committee set aside. It's called the Diversity Committee, which wrote all of these rules, which does all of these surveys, which works on the education for their district. So next is the Tacoma Public Schools. This is located in Tacoma, Washington. Their note says the school board recognizes the cultural diversity of students, staff, parents, and community members of our school district and acknowledges the educational importance of valuing the diversity of all people in our pluralistic society. Diversity includes that it is not limited to race, religion, gender, culture, age, physical challenge, and other perceived differences. Their district is mostly made up of Latin, African American students, Asian, Pacific Island, and then lastly Caucasian. What they do for their staff is they do train them on culturally diverse. They try to find staff that is like the culture they have. And then they also do training, multicultural education is available. So if you need more help, they can do that within their district. For my fourth school district, I picked the North Shore School District, which is located in Washington State. Their quote is, "To fully realize our mission to educate all students, it is imperative we recognize the institutional barriers, including racism and the bias, that contributes to the persuasive, desperate educational outcomes within our school system. We will take action to eliminate barriers as we strive for education equity of all groups." Their district is made up of Hispanic and Latino, Asian, Black and African, Caucasian, and what they do for their district, for their teachers, is they try their best to recruit, hire, support, and retain staff to be culturally competent. They create a plan and facilitate the development of the staff capacity and competency. They help their staff develop skills and knowledge to the capacity to respond to a diverse student's needs. And then finally, for the final school district, I did my own school district. We are located in Oakley, Kansas. So I read through our entire board policy book. I read through our entire staff handbook and our student handbook, and I could find no formal reference to cultural diversity or multiculturalism or anything along that within our handbooks. The reasoning I honestly believe we don't have this is because our population is like technically 89%, almost 90% Caucasian. And since our school district has not had any issues of race or culturalism, they haven't had to address it by writing a board note. Again, like I said, we're mostly made up of Caucasian. The next percentage is Hispanic, Latina, and then only 2% is other, and that varies from African American to Native American to, I think that might be it actually. And so, of course, there's no formal staff training. It's all, about cultural diversity. I do believe that there is classes offered through Southwestern Plains Resource Center, which is where we get all of our professional development training. Otherwise, we would probably need to seek out college courses to help with this. So, training for faculty and staff. The articles mention the important factors to consider when trying to help students of culturally diverse backgrounds and multiculturalism. One of the particular resources talks about the parent view of multiculturalism and how they feel they're not a part of the school. These were those common themes I'm supposed to look for. So one of them is parent relentlessness to advocate, mixed feelings and needs for support, inconsistent and inadequate interpretation, delayed and inaccurate translation, schools' disrespect and silencing of parents, hiring, training, and providing competent translators, and listening to parents. And that was just from one article. I really felt like it hit the theme super well. But then across the board from a couple other ones, I noticed that the biggest issue or for lacking was there's no teacher training and there's no educational practices set in stone. Research in cultural diversity in classrooms. So there needs to be more of these things in school districts to make them more well-rounded. Okay, so from the resources, I found that some of the best ways to communicate with families. The number one I saw out of all of them was the primary language matches the quality of communication between the teachers and families. So obviously the example is here in Oakley, we speak English. So obviously most of our parents speak English as well. So that would be the language we would offer. And maybe in a bigger school district somewhere in Florida, maybe their primary language is Spanish. So wanting to hire teachers who are fluent in Spanish would be good. A second one is there's no racial or cultural bias present, meaning people with similar backgrounds. You want to create and engage workshops to open communication between the home, so the parents, and the school setting. And then design communication strategies to meet the needs for cultural, social, linguistic needs and values of families whose native language is not English or the native language of whatever the surrounding school district is. Be aware of family body language through verbal and nonverbal communication. I only saw this a couple of times, but it was mentioned that, for parents who don't speak English, it is important to read their body language to see how they feel about a situation. So lastly, what's the goal? I found 3 goals that I think we should walk away with. So number 1, to find common ground for parents to feel comfortable with communicating with their child's teachers and educators. Number 2, I think it's important that we provide tools and skills and techniques adequate to the strengths of these challenges. So for example, we need translators. We need documents that are translated into another language. And then if maybe offer English language courses to parents. And number 3, we want to find educators and administrators and support staff who are similar background, if not are willing to become an environment with the background that is a non-biased background. So making sure we're checking our biases at the door. Here's my references. And then here are my references from the 5 schools. Okay, sorry, my dog was kind of in the background.